First of all, thank you very much for joining us today. I know you're a busy person, and also you're working on your case, which is a lot of work. So it's really appreciated that you decided to share your experience and what's going on. That's very, very good. So let's start with actually talking more about you, Zuo. Tell us who you are, where you're coming from, what's your family is about, what was your career, so just tell us basically your background, so where you're coming from and what did you do with your life the first 20-30 years.
That's going to be a hard one. All right, thank you so much. First and foremost, I want to thank you for taking out the time to have me on Zoom, and to your wonderful team. I know they're working very hard. Just got a call at the last moment to make sure that I was on. So my name is Zuo Bruno. I was born in Cameroon. I'm from a very small family, from a very small group of people. In Cameroon, as you know, some people speak French, that's made up of 80% of the country. And some people speak English, make up of 20% of the country. And I'm from that English-speaking side of the country. Growing up easy in Cameroon. I don't think it's easy anywhere. But growing up was fun. Growing up in Africa, especially in Cameroon, is a lot of fun. Did my primary school, secondary school, went to the university, fell in love with geography as a subject, started doing geographic information systems. Same time, fell in love with a beautiful lady who later became my wife, Patience. We moved a lot because of our business. We've been all across the African continent. Then started staying semi-permanently in South Africa. And from South Africa, we got an EB-1A, a B1B2 visa to travel to the United States to expand our business. And once we got to the United States, it was kind of, sorry for the noise in the background. It was kind of easy for us, to look for someone who could actually change our status. And so we started doing some research about what kind of law firm to use. We got advice from everywhere. We had people saying this, saying that, you have to seek for asylum, you have to do this. But we always believed that there will be someone who is focused on business and immigration. So I started doing my research, and I should mention that I'm very good in cybersecurity. I've been doing cybersecurity for the past 7 years. So I came across your law firm, and I started doing some background checks. I wanted to find out, who is this guy? I discovered you on YouTube, same platform we'll be talking about. So it was interesting. Then I found out that you have a very strong value for what you do, and you have a very strong passion. And those are the two things I was looking for. In fact, I look for those two things in every person. So a very strong value and a very strong passion. And then I gave you a call, and from there it's been smooth riding till now. Yeah.
Very good. That was very detailed. Thank you, Zuo. From the first time when we met at the immigration planning, I was surprised how you can describe very profound and deep meanings in short sentences and very understandable. So I was like, wow, that's the show with intelligence, and that's always very attractive for me in my clients, because that means that, okay, we can do something big here. So this is very good. First of all, thank you for the kind words. We'll talk about the process in more details a little bit later. Let's talk about a little bit more about your case, right? I think this is very interesting, and I know I'm confident with 95% that we'll get your green card, right? So we're in the middle of the case, but I know we have a very strong case. We have very strong basis for the case, a good team leading your case. So in 3-4 months, we would probably, with very high success rates, going to be celebrating your approval. And that will be probably another stream on Zoom when we're going to prove that that's what happened. But before we get there, let's discuss what's actually happening in your case. What needs to be done, or at least let's show the example of what needs to be done for us to actually pick up the case and develop it and make a filing. Let's talk about the criteria one by one. And if you don't mind, of course, and if you think that's something you don't want to share, no problem, right? So because that's all about you. That's about how you want to show the details. If you could please tell us about the awards that you got throughout your career.
As a cybersecurity expert, I started building security-based applications all the way back from Cameroon. And one of those applications I built solved a really important problem. The problem was fleet management relied heavily on internet connectivity. Because of the government interruption of internet in my country, I kind of tried to solve that the problem of fleet management, and I came up with something called SOT. Now, basically, SOT allows you to control smart or on-smart devices offline using SMS as a form of communication. And that quickly won the presidential prize for Cameroon in 2018. And from then on, I moved on to win the prestigious African Achievers Award, which the African Achievers Award, which has been going on for the past 12 years, and me being the first Cameroonian to ever get awarded with that award. I also got the Go Global Awards, which recognize me and my company as doing some excellent work in technology and innovation. And that was in Estonia in 2022. And I've also taken part in many other awards, like I've been part of conferences like the Commonwealth Business Forum, where I've talked multiple times in Morocco, Marrakech, Kigali, Rwanda, trying to promote young Africans and young people across the world to promote innovation, to promote technology and adaptation of technology to the reality on the ground. Because one thing I advocate for is the fact that people build technologies based on the fact that it is just solving a problem. But what me and my company try to do is to adapt technologies to not just the problem on the ground, but to the accessibility, to make sure that people you're building the solutions for can actually use that solution. I try to explain a little bit more about my SOT technology for the fact that you can control a car without or with internet doesn't mean the person in the rural area will possibly be able to do that. In countries and societies where internet is not a problem, like in the United States, you don't want to think that way because internet is like, you don't think about it. But in rural Africa, internet, you have to think between internet and something else. People start thinking more and more about alternative source or means of communication. And this is why I think my technology that I developed for car tracking and also for communication really had a profound impact on the people on the ground.
What was the main motivation to do that? What was moving you to create this service for people in rural Africa to access internet through their phones?
It's always been the same motivation for me every single time. It has nothing to do about from doing that. The main reason why I did this was because I saw a problem and I saw what I call my people. I saw people suffering, and I couldn't just sit around and do absolutely nothing. I wanted to do something. So it was all about creating a solution that could make life better for people. It wasn't about the profit. It wasn't about the money. It wasn't about the status. It was like, if you look at a baby falling from a building or from a tree, you don't think, you don't say, oh, wait, let me see if the father is rich first. Then if the father is rich, maybe I catch the baby and then get some profit. It's a baby falling. You don't care if it's green, black, white. You don't care about that. You just go for it. And I think that's what really pushes me, not just in business, but I think in life. I make sure that what I do must be because it's for the good of humanity. That was the main motivation behind that.
Oh, this is so good. I love it. And the reason I ask this question is not just because I wanted to see what the answer is, which I kind of expected, to be honest, knowing you a little bit, Zuo. but also to show to the people who are actually watching us that there are two philosophies of actually how you can get enough evidence to file for a green card through the talent, through the extraordinary ability. And number one is what is probably more a practical approach when you actually know, okay, I need to have press, I need to have awards, okay, I need to be a judge, I need to speak at a conference, okay, how I do this, okay? And you build up the plan and you actually execute on it. And that's the first philosophy. The second philosophy is actually doing something good for the humanity, trying to build something, create something, do something for your people, for your country, for the continent, for the earth, whatever the scale is. And from that comes everything else: awards, the conferences, the press. Because what Zuo was doing, that brought him the attention of CNN and BBC, which I think is great for the case, because everybody knows CNN and BBC. There's hands down. So those outlets, those new outlets, they actually contacted Zuo and asked for his opinions, for interview from him and things like that. So I think this is very important to show to those who watch us where your motivation should be in order to bring all the goods for you, in not only for the humanity but also for the green card. So I think this is important philosophical intrusion in case. So basically, we discussed already the awards and press. I spoke about press, and there is more, of course. Let's talk about the judging. So where you were an expert or a judge?
After starting my business and becoming what I would term an icon, I was invited in multiple places to judge. I've been invited by the African Union in Rabat, both in Morocco, where I've judged there. I've also been invited by Demo Africa to sit not just as a judge, but also as a selecting panel. So I sat down in the panel that selected the best innovations there. Also at the Commonwealth Business Forum, I've done that twice. One 2019, I think, in London, and 2022 in Kigali, Rwanda. I've seen those panels, and the last one, which I think is one of the most interesting one, was a United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, UNECA, where I've had a lot of judging being done in and out, trying to promote, and not only promote, but also trying to, because when you mention judging, in the UNECA example is interesting because it was not just judging, it was some sort of mentorship after judging. They wanted us to be sure that we not only judge people, but also kind of, if you say someone is not doing something right, then can you show them the right way then? So it was really interesting for that example. So kind of I have like 4 or 5 instances in major judgment or judgment situations, which I really enjoyed those because they kind of bring me back to the root of the people, kind of make me see how the youth are, struggling to make a change, and that is really interesting to me.
Very good, very good. So, guys, I hope you taking notes, the names of those events that Zuo is mentioning, because this is very important. This is very important, especially you're from Africa, and you can hear different countries that Zuo is calling, and everything that he mentions, it falls within the criteria of EB-1A. So each judging, each award, they're good for the purpose of this visa. Okay, very good. So let me then talk about your contribution to the industry. That not really talk, but reiterate, because you already spoke about it. And if you guys were listening attentively to what Zuo was saying about the technology that he was bringing to the rural Africa to access the internet through the SMS service on their phones. So that's exactly what I'm looking for when we're talking about contribution in the field. That means that Zuo created something new which never existed before. And of course, it impacted the industry, because people who didn't have the internet, now they do have it. So that's the pure definition of the contribution in the field. And of course, it could take different forms and places, but that's exactly what we are doing in the case with Zuo. Also, Zuo, tell us more about your contribution in the field in the form of a single passport for Africa. What's that thing?
Yeah, so I came up with African Information Security Conference, known as ASCOM. The African Information Security Conference has been ongoing for 7 years. I'm really proud of this one because it's made a lot of impact. For the past 7 years, we've had this conference every single October. We select the date changes actually, but it's every single October. And what we do in this conference is we kind of educate the African people, the African businesses, the African governments about cyber threats, cyber security threats, and how to implement, how to make the cyberspace a safer place. One of the things we will try is to let young Africans space and do something constructive. Because a lot of people have this idea about what Africa is or what Africa should be in their mind, where a lot of, when you mention the word scamming, a lot of guys will just tell you, oh, that guy is from Nigeria. So we try to use the conference to kind of bring to fore that if you're having such ideas of maybe going online and scamming, there are better things you can do online and still make the amount of money you want to make. And at the same time, telling people how they can protect themselves online. It's not like just going online, sharing your password and all this kind of stuff. We've been doing that for 7 years, and we've done it in Cameroon, multiple cities. We're planning of doing it this year, 2023, in Kigali, Rwanda, mostly because we have a very good relationship with the country, and the country has a very good outlook towards cybersecurity.
Okay, so how did it result in the single passport for Africa continent?
Oh yeah, so the single passport issue was discussed and signed into effect in Marrakech, in Morocco. What can help promote the part of that panel? I do have pictures, shared those pictures, but no problem, I'll still share them with you. We discussed that one of the most important things to make young people in Africa really become not only innovative, but also very productive, was to make travel within the continent very, very easy. And we suggested that for that to happen, the African people, the African continent should have a single passport. And that was actually one of the things that was taken home from that discussion. And we are seeing currently that the African Union is putting that into practice. And I hope, thinking that in the next few months, this will actually be a law where people will actually go to their local police stations or wherever and actually get not a Cameroonian passport, but an African passport.
Very good. So that's also we're gonna use it as the contribution in the field. I think this is a great innovation in Africa, which is gonna help the economies grow. Okay, so the next one we will be discussing your critical and leading role. And of course, that would be your own company, right? Through which you bring these technologies in Africa and planning to bring those technologies in the States. And also you mentioned UNESCO. So I do believe that you played a critical role in that organization, and of course we're going to speak about this in the petition. We also going to be claiming a high commercial success, and because I know this is a delicate subject, it's up to you. So if you want to open up what's the terms of your income, if you want to talk about it, or if you just want to mention that you make more money than similar professions in your field.
All right, I'm definitely not going to mention any amounts.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
yes.
so I run 6 companies at the moment. I won't say I actually run all of them, but I have created 6 companies which are doing some really interesting stuff. So the first one I want to talk about is my cybersecurity company. It's known as Zoix. it focused 100% on offensive cybersecurity. The second one is known as Camway. Camway is one of the companies that focuses specifically on fleet management with or without access to internet connectivity. I also have another company known as Zuo SMS. Zuo SMS is revolutionizing the way people communicate both online and offline, because in rural Africa, Zuo SMS is being used to check emails just by typing a simple word like check my email by SMS. It triggers a computer that is connected to the internet to fetch your emails for you and send them over to you by SMS. So you mention from online sources. I also have another company, which I think is the biggest one right now, called Edrix. Edrix actually is a company that promises to be the first in the world to deliver medications from space. So we're trying to have
this blows my mind. This blows my mind.
Yeah, so we're trying to make sure that people can have medication dropped from space. The reason for this solution is because many people, I always focus on Africa because that's where my heart is. So many people in rural Africa, when they're sick, sometimes before the emergency services come to their aid, it's already too late. So what we've done is we've created a system where you can have your medications flown out to space, and you have a wristwatch that tracks your vitals and your location. And if let's say you have a heart attack, that watch will trigger that capsule from space to free drop to you, which takes approximately 15 to 30 minutes, which is better than the 1 or 2 hours waiting for an ambulance in Africa. I also have a technology company called Zano Paper, which is also revolutionary. We've created an A4 paper, a regular A4 paper. I wish I had one in the office. But this regular A4 paper is being infused with nanotechnology. So it means you cannot photocopy, you cannot scan, you cannot take a picture of that paper. It's used for high-end security, like maybe the president signs a document, maybe you want one existing document to exist as an authentic document, and then you can print that on that paper, and it cannot be photocopied, it cannot be altered, cannot be edited. So these are some of the companies that I do have. I should mention that my wife, Patience, is the CEO of Camway. So she's my boss in Camway, and I'm the CTO. And
classic.
Yeah. So as for the amount of money I do make from each of the companies, I'll decide to keep it secret for now, and then probably discuss it much later.
Very good, very good. So yeah, of course, there is no problem with that. Let's wrap up your case with the final criterion, which we need to show how you're gonna continue in the field of your talent in the States. So what are your plans? How you're gonna apply your talent here?
When you're young, you think of just doing yourself around you, revolve around you. You want everybody to do things for you. It comes a time in life when you realize that it's your turn to do things for the world. And I want to do it in a peaceful place. I want to do more research. I want to do more writing. I want to give back to society, so to speak. And my wife and I have thought about it long and hard, and we said, there's no country where you can be as free as in the United States. As long as you don't get involved in crime, as long as you don't get involved in creating problems, you'll be fine and free in the United States. So my future thinking is to stay and live in the United States the rest of my life, while giving back to humanity, while sharing the knowledge I've gathered over the years.
That sounds like a really good plan. And to summarize it, just to give back to the society, share the knowledge, and promote innovation and technology. And of course, in the petition, it's going to be with more details, because we need to make sure that the immigration officer understand exactly what and how we're going to be doing. And in this case, I don't see any problem with that. Okay, very good. So let's switch our gears towards actually working with my team and my company. And of course, you are a businessman and you're an innovator and you're into technology. So can you please share your experience of how you and your beautiful wife, Patience, how you guys go through the process? Is it easy? Is it hard? Is it a lot of work? What kind of help you get from the team? And just share your experience overall, please.
My experience overall with your team has been very professional, very understanding too. We have the best support ever. I remember when we when we created a Telegram group, I was like, oh, this is not gonna work. But it kind of worked perfectly well because I knew exactly what was needed of me. I knew exactly when I'm supposed to deliver those documents. I knew why. Most importantly was the why. Your team doesn't just tell you what you need to do and what you need to provide. They tell you, we need this by this date because of this. And that kind of gives you a sense of not only urgency, but also a sense of connection. So it's like we're working together. So I really love that. Another thing is your team have frequent Zoom calls with us, where they kind of tell us, oh, okay, we are at this level right now. We think if we go this way, this is going to work. If we go this way, it's going to be better. And another thing about your team, which to me, is the G closer, is the fact that your team is able to look at updates. I remember after already starting doing putting in documents, creating the Google Drive and sharing those documents, there was some information that was shared by your team saying that, oh, there's an update. The government have done this update on this visa. So because of this new update, we could add this or that and kind of make it move a little bit forward or faster. And I even remember another instance where the date your team gave was a little bit too far for us. And we said, no, we wanted a little bit earlier. They were accommodating. They said, okay, we could do it earlier if we do A or B or Z. So you definitely have a good team working with you. Very understanding people. Multilingual was an extra touch. The fact that they could talk in French and in English was really interesting to me.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even know about the French part. So hey,
oh, French.
Very good. So okay, the members of my team can practice their French also here. Very, very good. Okay, thank you very much, Zuo, for constructive explanation. Anything you could think has the place for improvement? Anything for maybe you can see could be done better? And we're open for suggestions and anything like that.
For now, absolutely nothing. I'm happy working with you guys. I appreciate your professionalism. I appreciate the fact that you guys are not narrow-minded. Yeah. So, like I was saying, I really appreciate the fact that with you guys, it's not just what the client wants. That you just, for example, my experience with law firms is that they ask you, what do you want? Like if you want to go from point A to point B, they take you from point A to point B. But what was different with your firm was the fact that we wanted from point A to point B, and you said, yes, that is possible, but there are these other options available for you. And if you want to explore these other options, this is what you need to do. So it was really interesting that you could listen very keenly to our demands and not just understand them, but also understand them to the extent where you can propose other options and give us more available options. Remember when we came to you, we had talked to so many people, and the option we had on the ground was like asylum. We want to seek asylum. And you were like, no, based on what you wrote to me, A, B, C, D, I think EB-1A will be the best option for you. And then you kind of explained that really well. And also, I should tell you, your fees are very, very affordable. You are one of those good guys. Before talking to you, I've spoken to a law firm in Baltimore. If I compare the fees, nah, I don't want to go there.
Well, and probably the quality of the service is also, you know, maybe not up to the date with other law firms, because we create a unique product. And by the way, just because we have such innovators like you, Zuo, in our company, we're also trying to implement more innovations in our services. And actually, you are the first one, and everybody who's watching it live who will learn that we are changing the process of immigration planning. Before the change, how was that going? And in your example, first you probably watched the video on YouTube, then you filled out the application, the questionnaire. Then I looked at it and say, hey, Zuo, I see the potential in your case. You have these criteria implemented. So let's meet at the immigration planning and already build up the strategy for your case. And then we met at the immigration planning. We discussed the strategy, we built it, and then you hired us, you signed the retainer, and we started working on your case. So that's how it was going before. We actually created a new department in the company with a complex immigration planning department. And now the immigration planning is going to be divided into phases. Phase number one is actually when a potential client meets a person for this new department, and that person collects even more information. So we're going to spend additional 45 minutes with the client, getting everything possible for all kinds of programs available to us. And when that client meets with me, so that's the second step in this immigration planning, I already have all the information not only sorted out, but also written in one big document and analyzed. So this is like a very deep strategy at the very first step of working with us. And of course, we're trying to be the best, we're trying to be innovators, and I guarantee no one is doing this. So we are the first company in the States who are actually implementing this, and that's also we're doing this only for to improve our cases, to get even greater result. Right now we get 9 approvals out of 10. We want to get 10 out of 10, right? So we're changing everything possible to achieve that result. How do you like that, Zuo? Are we stepping up the game with the innovations?
Definitely. I love that.
So Zuo, last word to you, and I want you to tell us something very specific. Remember yourself, that's not very long time ago, maybe 4 months ago, maybe 5 months ago, when you were thinking about the immigration, maybe some visa, maybe you were not sure, you were looking for the attorney. Remember your feelings, remember your emotions, remember your state. What advice could you give to yourself back then, and at the same time to the people who are in this position right now? What would be the best advice that you can give yourself in the past and those people who are watching it right now?
So, interesting one. My state, first of all, I'm going to explain my emotions. At the time, I was really confused. I didn't know what to do. I talked to a lot of people, word of mouth. I had all type of information. As a scientist, we are taught to think logically. So the logical thing I did was to find as much information as possible. So I went online. I stopped talking to a lot of people, and I said, let me look for this myself. And I went online, and that's when I fell on one of your videos and kind of started doing some research about you. So my advice to anybody who wants to go through the visa, I don't want to be biased, but if you want me to be biased, I'll say, you know what? If you're watching this video right now, you know exactly what links to click, okay? So you definitely want to go with these interesting guys, with these wonderful guys. Another thing you want to do is you want to give as much information as possible when you contact this interesting law firm. I've been working with you, and I have no regrets about that. So from the confusion, I would say you will get confused if you don't know what you're looking for. But if you know what you're looking for and you want the right kind of advice, you should definitely. Am I allowed to share your website link? If I could share it?
Sure, of course.
Sure, definitely. So you definitely want to go with, your name is hard for me to pronounce. I'm trying to find a way to pronounce. Shamayev, is this?
That's my last name. Yes, Shamayev. My first name is Stanislav, and no worries about the pronunciation because I know that's a hell of a name. That's a hell of a name.
Okay, so interesting. So, what I've done already for my own part is because I believe in what you're doing, I've already started sharing your link with some of my friends, and I can advise anybody. I don't have a regret. If there was something wrong, I would definitely tell you because I'm one of those people that I'm really open. I prefer to tell you the truth and then later be haunted by it later, knowing that I've told the truth. But so far, no problems with you guys. So far, it's all been about professionalism. So far, it's been innovation. It's been wonderful. It's been a lot of support, a lot of help, and a lot of understanding from you guys. So you are the best in the market right now, and you are the one I will advise anybody to go for. So you have me. You have me already.
Very good. Very good. Zuo, thank you very much for the kind words. I'm happy that you are my client, and I remember at the end of the migration planning, I told you, Zuo, I want your case. Give me your case. So thank you for the trust in me, in my company. Thank you for the time, and thank you for your great wife, Patience. She's doing a lot of work, and I know it's a hard work, even with all the resources that we provide. You guys doing great. We're gonna be filing your case sooner than we expected because you asked for more for the strategy with the better deadlines, with the tighter deadlines, which is great. We're always for the speed and the quality. So thank you very much, and I will be happy to host another Zoom with you after the approval of your green card, so we could share the emotions, we could share the maybe more details about the case. So that would be great, and thank you very much. Say hi to your wife, and have a great day.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Bye bye.
All right.